And so, and some of the neat little genres, this kind of reminds me where I grew up. So anyway, I thought we would just paint this painting sort of inspired by this movement. And we'll just go over it. But anyway, I would like you guys, at some point, maybe to read this article or go over it and learn about these artists. These are some big, they weren't giant California artists. These are, I think they're getting bigger now, though, which is interesting. But they are big artists, and it's a uniquely, like I say, a lot of people moved over here from the East Coast to find a new sort of kind of art to get into, in the early part of last century, and now they're leaving. So it's a really interesting movement and interesting food for thought. So, okay, having said that, let's get into our value study here. Let me get my thing here. Come on. Okay, let's go for this value study. Come on. And let me make sure whoops. Just make sure I'm in there. Okay. I'm not sure that's exactly the frame I want, but I'll start with something like that. And I like the composition okay. So I'll start it off something sort of like this. Just outline it like from the top, come down. That may be a little large for what I want. And then way down here, wow, the dock is way down low, so they're elevated pretty high, which is interesting and fun. These boats. So we have this neat little negative shape in here, which I liked. I got the smaller little boat down below. Or just and this one comes up too. I kind of wanted to show more of this. I like the mass and everything going up. So I think what I'll do is lift that up a little higher. Something more like that. Maybe this one goes on that way now. I just don't want the background. See, if I go like this with the mountain in the background, see, it kind of plays on this and it kind of swoops right into the background shape. So that's not something I really would want to do. The way it is in there looks pretty good, and I don't know why I didn't do that in the beginning. Kind of coming out and then moving up like that. some of these little things on the top here. So on. Okay, that's pretty good as far as the drawing goes. Maybe we'll want to see a little bit more of the decking in here. We'll see. Okay, it's kind of you may have seen paintings like this before because it's a popular theme to paint people repairing boats. I don't know why. I see it a lot. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it creates really interesting shadows. It does, so I like that. Okay, I'm going to go into some background value in here. Oops, there's some ocean in there too, isn't there? I forgot. Some cloudy things at the top there. All right, and then we know that the light is coming from the left-hand side. So all our shadows are on the right. So first, if you'll start off with a lighter shadow, maybe going over the front of this. We could take it over that, I guess. And the front of this too. Actually, most of this is in shadow. And down here. Now I'll go for something darker. A dark middle value. Let's say, for instance, this value here on the side of the boat. Remember, this right here casts a shadow onto here. And all this is in shadow. Interesting dark stuff underneath there too. Just going for some middle values. Maybe up in here. And a few of these little guys. Oh, you know what? I forgot about that whole thing about completely just slipped my mind about the chatting and all that. I don't even have my chat on. Here it is. Okay. So yeah, some people were just you know, it does kind of I mean, I don't have a problem with people dropping in and asking me questions, but if it ruins the rhythm of the class, then how about we'll try this at the end. we'll have a little Q&A at the end right after the demo, or we'll just put them in the chat and we'll do that after the demo. Might be better just to write your little, if you have a question, write it in the chat. And we'll do that after the demo. And we'll see how that works, okay? I've never done it before, so we'll just see how it works. Whoops, sorry about this. Put this down here a little bit further. It's really skewed too, isn't it? Wow. Sorry. You guys are looking at my hair. I really kind of drew this at an angle. Okay. So now let's go for some darker darks. Let's just start putting those in. Something darker at the top, around there. Something, a little pocket back there. This shadow does get pretty dark on here, doesn't it? So does that. And over here, it's pretty dark. Shadow down below is pretty dark too. You know, I see a little shadow on the right side of this too. Probably because there's another boat right besides that. And this guy is pretty dark. They might even be closer together too. I'll see. Not that we need to make them closer together. I mean, I'm not here to just copy that. We've got little jacks and things on the ground here, stabilizing, whatever. All kinds of little things down below here. The name. Little boat back there, a little dock or something back there. Whatever else. I love all the little ropes and things coming off the sides. Sometimes you'll have a rope kind of doing this kind of thing. All kinds of little things. So, and I think in general, this is a pretty dark value over this too. And the tops, this part's white where it says Mary Joanne, but there. There we go. Nice dark shadow on there. And we got ourselves a little scene. Now I don't know. Maybe we'll think of possibly. I don't know. Maybe putting a person in there, but I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I mean, I'll see what it looks like here. Let's see if I have a person kind of. I don't know. Let's say they're grabbing this rope. Something like that. I don't know if that'll work. I was toying with that idea, but I think really to have the whole class do something like that might be a mistake without photo scrap, without giving you guys some photo to work with. That's kind of a... So anyway. Oh yeah, and there's a seagull in the sky. Don't forget the seagull in the sky. Ready? There it is. All right. And we are... So we'll see about those other things. Okay. And Let's see how we're doing over here. All right. Let's try it again. Okay. That's about. But sometimes if I'm trying to just guesstimate something complex like this, it might be easier just to say, okay, I want the top to be about like that far from the top, like that far. Come over to here, just box it in, kind of throw it in a box like this first. And that gives you the size, relative size estimate, and then we can kind of something like that. So to put something in a box can really kind of give you the size. And then, you know, I end up with this big old giant boat. You wonder how did I get here? Put things in boxes. So like, for instance, my little one over here, I did want it a little further away. I could just like, okay, I want this one to be, you know, no taller than this, about to there. I'm gonna keep it around there. And then I can start building. I can say, okay, well, it's this tall, there's the side, kind of comes in like that, and kind of comes in like that, straight up. And that's how I get my sizes. I just put everything in boxes. You'll hear me say that all the time. I do it with so many things. All right, then we have our little good things here. And you've probably heard me say this before too, with telephone lines, or let's say ropes in this case, or any sort of things that you might have a hard time painting with your brush, just do it with your pencil. Like watch, if you do that with your pencil, really nice and dark like that, when you paint over it, it'll still show. And even in your finish, if you don't feel like you can paint really good small little lines with your paintbrush, if you're feeling a little awkward about that, just draw them in with your pencil. It works. Especially when I'm doing little comps like this, it really works. Okay. Yeah, maybe for these little jacks and these little stands and things like this, and this coming off there, it might be better just to draw those in with a pencil. All right, so I've got kind of a blue-gray in the background, so I'm going to use ultramarine blue. And if you mix it into the cad red and cad yellow, and then dominate it with the ultramarine blue, just really dominate it with the blue. So you have a really blue mud. You know, maybe you'll come up with something more like that. Bring the line. Remember to paint that ocean in there this time. Something like that. It does kind of come up to the top of this. I'm not sure I like that. I'm wondering if I could take this mountain up and over. Interesting composition. I don't know. Maybe I'll take this even bigger. Oh, didn't know I was going to do that. Could try. This one over here is a little lighter, gives us a little more distance, so I could add a little bit of water to that and just lighten that up, or use a dry brush and sort of pull it off there, like that. Good enough. So now I just take that same red, yellow, and blue, and then mix a little bit more of the yellow and red into the blue, and I get something more gray. And so I can come up here to the top here with some of that gray. And I do see some blue sky in there too. Wow. Didn't see that before. Little hints of blue sky. Might be nice. Little touches of just pure ultramarine blue, or maybe a cobalt blue if you have one. They're pretty light though, so I'm going to really keep that light. And again, I'm sticking with that ultramarine red and yellow. Oh, cad red, cad yellow. And I'm going to put a color over this. Yeah, it does get bluer on the bottom. I think I'm just going to go over this whole thing and leave the bluer part on the bottom. I noticed this part over here is about the same color, so might as well do it since it's on my brush. And I'm seeing a little bit of that color in down here as well. Maybe it's a little more orange down there, but maybe more yellow and red in that. Okay. More yellow. You certainly could hit yourself some of those rusty orangey yellows in there too. And the bottom really gets, it's kind of a cerulean blue. Both the bottom of these are painted in a greenish blue. So I'm going to go for the Prussian blue. Just paint it right over the shadow side. We'll come back and hit a shadow over that later. Like that. Okay. Coming up with a really light shadow for the front of this. It should be darker than that. I think I'm going to add magenta, a little magenta into my red, yellow, blue mix. I'm going for something sort of on the violet side. See what we come up with here. A shadow there. It's a little gray for me. And I'm going to take that shadow right on the shadow side of this too, this white in the shadow there. And over here in this shadow, and this one too. And we didn't put any color for the ocean in there. It's a light gray. Again, the red, yellow, and blue. And 90% water. Right over all that. And you notice right now we're in the middle. We don't have any dark values in there. We're just in the middle value with these. So, no, we don't have to use black for our darks. You can use Prussian blue, your magenta. You can mix them together, ultramarine blue. They all make really good darks. So, I could use this dark up here, or I could use a bluer dark like that. See that one right there. So, maybe a little bit lighter for the rest of the shadow. Yeah. So you can pick and choose your darks. Even green in a dark, it's better than black. Usually. Although sometimes I've seen instances where black can be kind of nice. I think this gets really dark. I'm going to go for a really stark dark blue down here. And since I have that value on there, I'll put it in the windows too. It's got a little dark header up there. Any other kind of dark you want up in here? Something back here in this sort of pocket, like a triangle underneath that little tarp, with all kinds of interesting ladders and ropes and things. And let's get some shadows on the ground. Lots of shadows on the ground. Here too. Some of these darks up here. All this stuff. So if I wanted to, now when I think of people at this scale, I just do this. I got a head and a body and whatever the legs are doing. Arms. So I usually kind of hook it all up like in a mass like this. So if you did want to put a person in there, and you certainly don't have to, but if you did, I'm thinking, I'm thinking, there might be ropes coming down like this way or something, and we have a guy kind of reaching up there, doing his work or something. So not a really big deal, just a prop. The person's really just a prop. Maybe stepping up on something. He's got his hand up there. I don't know. Let's make it a big deal out of him. I'm not sure I wanted to make a big deal out of it. I'll leave that up to you. And I'll put a couple of shadows being cast from this over to here, like that. And another one over here, like that. Those are pretty dramatic. Something under there too. Kind of a light, soft edges. Not real hard edge shadow here. And with anything on these docks, there's crates. Oh my gosh, there's nets. You could take a net and do something like this if you wanted to tie this together or something. You could have little crab crates on the ground. It just never ends. The props are everywhere. I love painting down there. Anytime you need something, it's there. Any kind of prop. I love these ropes. Constant. The light rope over the dark might be good to hit in with a white. Maybe we'll do some of that. That'll be fun. Things like that. You could have whatever you like. Just kind of ties the composition together. And you certainly could throw that seagull in there. It actually really works. Not too dark. Maybe a flock of seagulls. Maybe not. I don't know. If you think it's too cliche, leave them out. All right, let's get down to business. Enough piddling around. Let's sort of this California scene look, though. It's really painterly. And they were if you can ever get over and see when they're having a show, Chapman College has a big deal on them. I'll show you this. I think they have a little Hilbert Museum over there that has a lot of their work. But a lot of our local museums have this movement, and it's really quite nice. You know, in other places you'll see this movement. Oops. They call a lot of those painters in that time the regionalist painters. So Hopper would be one of the biggest of the sort of regionalist painters who really became kind of an icon. Okay, let's see, let me zoom out a little bit. Whoops, is this one? There we go. All right. Okay, so my boat here. I put it down here a little further. I want to make a little bit more of an issue out of the mass. And all that. This would be a lot of fun. Okay. Way down there. So, what you can do is, let's take it from the top of the boat here. And you can just rough out with a box. Okay, it's about that high, about maybe that wide, and about that low. Sorry, I'll throw that a little darker so you can see it. So just throw it in a box, and then you have the other one. Maybe the other one's only this high. And about like that. And then the dock's way down here. The dock's actually below this one. So we could put it down here somewhere. Maybe we'll put it way down here. So how's that? For a basic drawing, huh? All right. And there's our mountain over there. And I decided to go with the mountain being a little larger over here and going out this way. And we can, now, if you like, we can just lighten those lines up a little bit. Instead of drawing them perfect with your line and staying within the lines and with your paintbrush, I just paint it all in. And I play with the contour with the paintbrush. Okay, so we got this side over here, and I don't really get into, I don't see like every little detail. I don't go for that. I just go for these big areas. So if you look, I mean, there really isn't that much on this side. So this goes way up here, and then actually it goes way up there, and then over there, down. We've got that netting or that tarp, and then the back. Something like that. Really comes down there, doesn't it? And things like lettering, again, a lot of people don't like to paint that in, and you can even leave it out if you like. I mean, it might not be about that for you, but if you could just do it with your pencil. You'll find lots of artists do. Oh, I'm not going to be able to put Joanne in there. How about Mary Jo? Sorry, Mary. And then maybe I'll just hit it again with my brush. This one over here is really kind of crowded. It's more foreshortened. Well, now. My thing's a little taller than that. Oh well. See, the windows come up to about here. They're really, really low on there. And there's your perspective. Remember, this is just a smooth box on the top. If you treat this like a box, going back in perspective like this, and then come back and swoop this part and round this part. A lot of swooping and rounding here. And we got the stuff on the top. You can put all that good stuff on there. Oh. Antennas, and there's a big giant mass right there. There's a big giant one coming over this way. Kind of leans in. This one over here leans in severely. I think this could have gone out a little further. For me. I've got some things going in that way. Some things tying in that way. And so a lot of these lines can be solved with your pencil. Artists, you'll see watercolors do this all the time. And there sure are a lot more than these lines. But it gets a lot going. I like this. We've got this sort of semi-little shadow, like a halftone shadow going on in here. But these lines are light. And that'll be a nice little juxtaposition. So what we'll do is, what I'll do is I'm going to throw that in with white paint. You got this little rope there too. There's just ropes everywhere on this thing. Little ropes coming down. We've got big giant boards this thing's up on. And who knows what's down here. There could be all kinds of little stabilizing jacks and things like that down here. Blocks. Who knows? All you want. Anything you want to do down there. There's like a trailer or something over here. But like I say, fish, you could put little, all a crab thing is just a box. Maybe it's at a little bit of an angle. And you could just, I don't know why I'm putting this in there, but I am. I sure didn't do that in my other little thing, did I? But anyway, like I say, any kind of prop you want. There's that prop of that little building in the background, which we could put in or not. So we have this one over here. Maybe the center part is there. Part kind of comes in like that. And a couple jack stands down on the ground. It's up on things too. Little blocks and whatever underneath it. I think I want to pull the edge of the dock. We're right on the edge here. So we get all the light coming from underneath all this stuff. That'll be fun. Maybe I'll leave this out. I don't know. We'll see. You know, the other thing is you could just, if you want to put the person in there, you could just draw them in first, like head, body, maybe he's got a hat on, you know, those. That's a funny looking hairdo. Or just a big old, I don't know, just a cap, and then maybe this leg's doing this. Don't put it in if you don't want to. I'll leave that up to you. Got a neat little guardrail up here on this one. Put these closer together here, because remember this is rounding the side like that, right? It's rounding, it's going back away from you. So these will get closer together and then further apart, further apart, further apart. You don't have to be perfect about it, but if you can keep those things in mind as you do things, stuff will feel like it's moving back in perspective. We have a couple windows in there. And a big old dish on top. Big mass. If you want to throw in that little seagull, there he is. I don't know. That's not working for me. Okay. Maybe a little indication of where we want our shadows to be. No, I don't think it needs this guy in here. I think it looks good by itself. But I do want to do some paintings where we're using people as props and some genre paintings, like you saw in these California scene painters. Take a look at them. They do some great little genre paintings. I mean, they're fantastic. And they're highly stylized too, and it really, each one of these artists, you know, they have their own style. And by the way, I see this little tarp over the front here. You know, you could add that in if you want. Just kind of, there's tarps hanging all over this thing. I guess it I guess it's a leaker. Okay. Couple of details. Things on the side there. Okay. I'm going to start lobbing in my colors here. And you know, I would not avoid any of this. Just paint right over all of this structure, because you see how much darker it is than the sky? Don't worry about it. Just paint right over it. And you know, I see some violet in that sky too. Wow. Grays and violets, and so I'm just going to throw in some of that. Red, yellow, and blue. Cad red, cad yellow, ultramarine blue. I want a nice soft edge right here. So I'm just going to use water on that edge. It does get a little bit darker than that, so I'm going to add a little bit more ultramarine blue. And I think I touched a little bit of magenta into that to make that a little more violet. Yeah. And then coming down, we do have a little slip of sky happening in there, so that's neat. And then we do get some grays in the sky back here. They're not as dark as the mountain, so I'm going to make them quite light. Doesn't matter if they go right over the mountain too, because the mountain is darker. It shouldn't affect anything really. So water up in here. We have a little blue sky. Maybe just a little straight ultramarine blue in there occasionally, just and it is a little darker up in here. Yeah, I have a little of that. It's just really soft edges in the sky. So wet your edges. I have all these kind of hard edges I put in. Wet your edges. I'm just using water. I feel like some of these California scene painters will they just paint water over the whole thing and they just rip in their colors. It's a very brave way to paint. I mean, really, when you talk about like virtuoso, watercolor handling, they're masters. Yeah, there really aren't any hard edges in the sky. You can always, just with your brush, you can take up an area, maybe hit a little bit more color in it later. If I want a little bit of that blue showing through there or something. Got an interesting little cloud hanging out over here. Those are fun. Okay. Now I'm going to go for the mountain, which is a much darker value. Got a deep blue gray. So red, yellow, blue, meaning cad red, cad yellow, cad blue. Cad blue. Did I just say cad blue? Sorry. I meant to say cad red, cad yellow, and cad blue. I just said it again. Ultramarine blue. Sorry.
Hey Rob, why isn't there a cad blue?
I don't know. Maybe you should write that in the chat. Ooh, sorry.
I'm sorry, I missed
We
it.
got new rules now, man. New rules. Sorry.
No talking.
No big deal. It's okay. It's okay. No harm done, sir.
Okay.
um, let's see now. Well, how are we doing here? That's a little green. I need more blue in that. And I think the ultramarine blue is the way to go. Actually, a little more violet in that. I'm going to throw a touch of magenta into that color. That was a lot. Remember, I forgot to draw in where my shore, where the ocean is. Meets the. I should probably come down to about there. Okay. It's kind of a blue-gray. I didn't put any sky back there. Oh well. Now I'm gonna put this one in a little lighter. Mine's getting awfully gray. I would like to be a little bit bluer of a color. So, stick with the same value, but a little bit bluer color. Ultramarine blue. Yeah, in this case, I don't think it would be a good idea to use Prussian blue because it's green, you know. I have seen green in this. I do use Prussian blue in my skies at late in the day when it's a little greener. Now the bottom down here is much lighter. Oh, I put my jacks way up there, didn't I? I'll just erase those out. Now we won't have that sharp edge if I paint this right into it right now. And sometimes I like to risk it, and sometimes I don't. It just depends. I don't think it really matters in this case. But if I don't, there we go. I'll just put it in more like that. Because I don't want it to leak into my water too much, the mountains. That makes it feel a little further away. Having said that, especially this one right here, probably might be a nice idea to put a little bit of water on that edge. So to make this one feel like it's coming forward, this one is a little bit darker. Make this feel like it's coming forward. this. See how I just lose that edge a little bit? Something in the sky right there. I left that out. Probably something happening up here too, huh? Yep. Okay. Maybe some mountain over here. And very much in the same way we handled our little comp, I'm going to go for my lighter shadows first I'm going to go for the shadows on the whites first. So all of this. I'm just going to paint over everything because the whites are the lightest. But like for instance, there's a couple little light things happening up in here, and if you wanted those in there, you could just avoid them. And we have a pretty soft edge to the way this shadow right here is rounding the corner, so I could just use water. And over here. That color is just a very light, very similar to some of these values I put up in here. Colors, red, yellow, blue, and I added, I think there's a little bit of magenta in that too, yeah. Just think of a shadow, a white in shadow, and it's not a really, I mean, it's a pretty overcast day, so you're not going to get these extremely blue shadows. On a really bright, sunny day with blue skies, you may get really blue shadows. All this white's in shadow here. All that. There's just a mountain in the background. I kind of missed it. That mostly gets cropped out. We do have this sort of greenish blue at the base of the boats. So I'm going to put that on there. That's kind of leaking up into it. I don't mind that. I kind of like to see things like that in a watercolor. Shows the, I don't know why the word vigor comes to my mind, but just the kind of forcing things to happen, like what we're doing here. So accidents happen and you just go with it. And they turn into little wonderful things, usually. Like right up in here now. It's not a perfect blue. And we've got all this rust and stuff up in here. So I'm going to go for that rusty color. Red, yellow, blue. Put a lot of red and yellow in it because it's kind of rusty. Like that. bring it over to the other side. Whoops, I painted right over my tarp. Oops. I got pretty dark with that value. But I like the color. Actually, I'm not too dark. It's okay. There's other little variations on that color too, but I really like the yellows and the oranges, how they just kind of like, like that in there. Throw a couple of those. And they get down in here too, right? Got a lot of orange in there, so I just cad red, cad yellow. There's some rust. Any place you see rust, throw that in there. I mean, oftentimes it just kind of comes off things, We can rust it up later too. All kinds of rust hanging on this thing. Now that I have it on my brush. And see that little watercolor effect? Totally leave those. That's what makes it watercolor. Something nice and dark under here. I'm just hitting ultramarine blue in that right there. So that we get that little sort of a semi-shadow in there because it kind of tucks under in there. This tarp is interesting. It's almost like painting tinfoil or something. I'll just hit a couple of values in there. This whole side's in shadow. Come back later and hit a couple darks in there. Since I'm thinking about it, I might as well do the one in the back. There's a dark one over here too. I wasn't going to hit those darks until later. And then I did. Darn it. Okay. So really nothing bright over here. The brights are right here and here. And a couple of these little good guys. Let that set up before, and then we'll cast a really nice shadow over it. Still looking for some middle values before I go on to those darker values. And we don't have a whole lot. There was a dark back here. Not a whole lot. I guess it's time to go for the darks. Not the darkest darks, but maybe some pretty good darks in there. The one thing that really stands out right away, and a really good dark is just magenta and a little bit of Prussian blue. Mix those. It's a beautiful color too. You're going to get a nice dark right there. Just plant that thing. Boom. Some of these. Nice dark one in there. Got a nice dark coming right down there. interesting dark happening under here and there. I really didn't hit a shadow over here, did I? I think I was waiting for that to dry. That's what I should have done. I'm gonna glaze a nice shadow over this part. This part right here up here is probably dark enough. Something in the bluish family, ultramarine blue and maybe a little magenta. Yeah. You know, we eat a lot over here too. Definitely down here. That's really dark. Since we're doing those. And the white, even though this is not a real white, it's pretty dark in the shadow. And even all this is kind of brownish up in there. Maybe something more like that. And it gets a little lighter on this side as it comes into the light. And I have it on my brush. I might as well throw that little cast shadow over it. There's something under there too. Pretty soft edges to these shadows. Whereas this right here is a pretty hard edge on this. This front kind of scoops in and then it rolls back. We do have this other shadow over here too. I'm throwing that in more blue. Ultramarine blue. They call me blue. Ultramarine blue. As if it's some kind of spy or something. Yeah. See, the soft edge really makes it look like it's being cast from something further away. If you wanted to, they have some of these boards in there too. If you wanted to, you could just kind of, I know I'm doing it right into the wet stuff, so you won't see a lot of it, but be surprised. I wouldn't put very many of these, but just kind of give you that board feel. Soften that edge. Up there too. Gets a few little shadows underneath it. And some little darks in it. Pop them in there. Like tinfoil. Back here too, they're really contrasty. Prussian blue makes for a good dark. We have this dark under the tarp right here, and then we have a dark under the tarp in here. These little stretch marks here, they just stretch up, make it feel like it's being pulled. Whereas this one's not stretching as much. It's kind of folding onto itself. I do have something fairly dark under there. I'll just use a little brush to soften that edge. And you know, it is a little bit darker in the shadow over here. I'm going to go ahead and just knock that back a notch. It's actually darker than the mountain behind it. Wow. We're about the same value, huh? Pretty close. Kind of a capper right here, just a whole bunch of darks back here. And these windows. Holes in there, and they always drip like rust. So, thing right there, a little splash guard there or something. And like I said, if you want to come back and hit these darker, at least the pencil mark can kind of help you to where to put your paintbrush instead of just making it up on the fly. That usually, when you just paint it, it usually doesn't work. Unless you're really skilled and you do that kind of thing a lot. I know a lot of really skillful painters like to show off that stuff. Okay. Dark windows back here. See, the darks make the whole difference, right? It really. That's my other famous saying, right? Don't be afraid of the dark. I mean, you just can't be. It's like you're setting this whole thing up so you can put the darks in there. So you really gotta paint a lot of paintings and get used to putting those darks in there. Dark there. A couple more midtones in there. Okay. Really dark darks on the bottom with all the jacks and all these stands. I mean, who knows? What I'm trying to do here is get this thing really elevated though, so I'm going to pull this thing up a little bit higher. More of these things. And I'm making up a lot of this. Because you got to do what's right for your own painting. Maybe this comes way down here a little further. And I'm going to put these jacks down here. So the edge of the dock is way down here. Dark one up there. Mass right here. You don't have to be as particular as you might think with all this stuff. You might think you have to get really straight with it and you can get your ruler out and all that. And it doesn't look, again, look at the California scene painters. They would never use that. But for something like this, just, you might want to try it a couple of times but just.
Are we allowed to make comments?
I know, huh? You're like, wait, Rob, that kind of ruins the whole class, huh?
Yeah. I'm very impressed that you know that they're boat jacks.
Oh. Well, I mean, I can see there's some kind of jack. I've jacked up a lot of things in my life. Not a boat, though.
Okay.
Well, thank you. I've definitely changed my share of tires. But I helped someone move a house once. We used jacks. We used to go camping all the time. You use jacks to level out your camper. All kinds of stuff. Oh, this is curling up on me. I forgot to use Mr. Clamp. And I always think of Ethel when I think of these clamps. Okay. Those. Some major ones. Ropes and things coming off the side there. Well, that's a big rope. Skinny ones. I've got a ladder here. I certainly could get carried away. There's a whole, every time you look, there's more and more of these things, huh? There's ropes hanging everywhere. Well, you can do almost anything with them. Neat stuff happening in here, really. It's okay to have something like this that are unfinished, you know, just it creates a mood. So let me get some wood down on that dock. I'm just using red, yellow, blue again. It's a pretty great painting. And then I'm gonna add a lot of orange to it. So more red and yellow. I just go right over everything because there. I might have to come back and reinforce some of those darks. That's okay. Maybe really hit some yellows in that too. We'll throw some shadows on it later. You see me do this, man? What am I doing with that? That's me talking to myself. I need something over there. It's too white. I'm trying to talk out loud. I'm trying to think out loud. Excuse me. As you can tell, there's not a lot of thought going through my head usually. You're not a big thinker, are you, Rob? Okay. I'm gonna maybe soften this edge a little bit. There we go. And you know, if you put these shadows in now while it's wet, you won't get these really hard edges, which can be nice. It's really up to you, but throw some shadows on the ground like that. Maybe there's something over here casting a shadow like that. Definitely down there. Ultramarine blue, magenta. So it did get it's a little stark over here. Maybe I'll indicate a few little props of just crabby little boxes, crates, barrels, fishing net, old tires. They don't have to be anything. And there is a little building back there, but you know, put it in if you like. Any kind of jacks and stuff propping this up. I see more stuff back there. But I don't want to ruin all my little negative shapes back in here too, so I want to, there we go. Like I like that. This kind of creeped up into there, that's okay. I'm not really, probably going to crop that out anyway. But anyway, a few more little stilts and box. Maybe someone's standing on a box here, like an apple box or something. And who knows, these are working people, they're doing things. There could be buckets, there could be tools on the ground. thinking this white here looks a little stark, so I'm gonna put a little bit of warmth, a little bit of yellow on that. Just knock it back a little bit. And one time over this black. You go twice over that and it'll get all murky on you. That's it. Now this up here is kind of rusty, and so is this. Take some orange and yellow and hit some little rusty areas. You know, this could be rust anywhere you want. It could be coming all kinds of places. If your orange is too ridiculously orange, then just throw a little bit of complementary color in it. A little bit of blue will gray it. And sometimes if it's a little hard edge, I'll come back with some soft edges, just water, and just soften edges. See floats and things up here. It's just, oh yeah, there could be floats. You could put anything on there. If you take your, I just do it right out of the tube like this. You want to do some white. And maybe hit some of these. That looks a little, there we go. Whoop, that got big on me. Means I have too much water on it. Try it again. There we go. Like that. A few of those right over the Mary. Kind of breaks it up. Even on the shadow side, it's a little bright. I'll come back later and hit a little glaze over it. And anywhere, like for instance, some of this railing up here over the windows, just be kind of fun. A lot of times in dark areas, you'll get little bit of information like this. See, that's it. I'm out of there, and I'll let that dry. And if it doesn't dry too light, I'll leave it. But if it does, I'll hit a little bit of a glaze over that. Sometimes I'll do the same thing with little highlights on the windows. Maybe there's a little reflection in there or something. I'll just kind of do this. Get a little more water on there. Just like that on the windows. Sometimes I do it with a little bit of blue in my paint. Actually, if you want to use white, maybe you could come back into some of the clouds if you like. Sometimes I like to use it at the base of the mountains, like in here. I'll put it back there like that. I know it looks a little strong. I guarantee you it'll dry lighter. It'll dry darker. Maybe a little over here. That's fun. And so, like, see these lights I put in here? I can just glaze those back, see? Whoops. A little darker. So they don't stand out so much, but they're darker than the rest of the, I mean, they're lighter than the rest of the shadow. It's a lot of fun. Sometimes they'll even cast a little bit of a shadow down like this. Maybe this is elevated off the surface a little bit and it'll cast a little bit of a kind of a shadow. It could do that. I'm telling you. Yeah, I'm saying this could be darker. On the darker side could even be darker. This shadow could even be darker. Love that rust. Makes for great crab boats and things like that. Maybe even darker under here. Pretty dark. Maybe a little more dry brushing. That definitely works in here. And that was just blue, ultramarine blue. And when I glazed it over with the other, I did lose a few of these little darks, so I'll just kind of come back and put them back in. Some of these. Kind of gets silhouetted there. It's a very dark shadow, isn't it? Wow. I'm just dry brushing in and kind of going with the board action there. This gets really dark. This is what happens oftentimes with darks in watercolor, and that you'll there we go. You know, you put them down dark and then they dry lighter. That's part of it. I think I'm going to go darker with this. The whole shadow. This one too. And it's just finishing touches from here on out. You could put a birdie in the sky if you want. You're like, Rob, you must really want to paint a bird, don't you? You've been saying that all day. Should I show you my little birdie technique? I don't know if I have one. Check, check. I could paint that one. He's kind of going in this direction. And then cliche, but hey, you know, I'm not above painting birdies. That's what got me into art. I used to draw birds. I'll never forget, though, it's burned into my memory forever. I was probably 7 years old, and we had this guy come over, this artist come to my class, and start drawing on the chalkboard how to draw birds. And he starts off, he goes, well, because I had tried to draw birds before, I didn't really know. And he goes, here, I'll do it right here, I'll do it right there. He goes, just draw a circle, all right? And then draw a triangle, and then draw like an oval.
Raise your head a little bit higher.
Like that. He goes, and then, so there was the penguin technique, and then he showed us how to do parrots, and I must have came home and done, oh my gosh. I think I did that over and over and over and over until I was just blue in the face, and I did it for weeks. And that's what got me into drawing. I got all these, books on drawing dogs, and I found out, oh, that's what you do. You put them inside of basic shapes, and then you do. Because, of course, like everybody, I go right for the pupil in the eye, or the eyelash. So. very much like we laid in the box of the boat first, right? Boats can give people troubles. I'm sure you know what I mean, right? Because it's such a funky shape. They can do really awkward things. I reckon. Saying it. Is it still moist? I'm just gonna do it over something dark. I don't care. My stamp of approval there. I like it. And yeah, really rust it up any way you like. So are we getting any better? Looks like some people have sent me some things already. Aha! Where's this? Oh. All right, there's Sherrill. Yeah, we can kinda. You know, you're at the end when you're messing around with little edges and things like that. So we got Charlotte so far and Marie. All right. So we didn't get anything in the chat. But is there anything you guys want to talk about? Art related? No.
Well, I want, Rob.
Yeah.
When I want to say that that was very interesting because when I saw your photo, as happens often when you send a photo, but I was totally terrified. Absolutely.
You're terrified? Oh.
Terrified. I mean, the shapes, you know, but I did something. It's not perfect.
Hey, how about that?
I mean, it's amazing. You know, you just plunge, and so
Yeah.
I just want to thank you. But as I
Good.
said, at first I said, you know what, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to watch and not do it because I for sure I cannot do this. But then I got into it and something came out. So I learned a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. Hey, so I got a little note here from Robin. Could you talk a little bit about where you chose to start your painting? Meaning where you put your brush down first. You know, I don't always have a perfect place, but usually it's the biggest shapes first. I want to get my big, so in that sense, maybe I should have done this first. I mean, or maybe I should have done down here early on. But these big shapes first, you know, getting the overall setting. That works better in oil painting because sometimes you can't always hit those biggest shapes in watercolor because you're working from light to dark. It depends on you, but like if you'll notice, I ended with the rust here and the little notes of little light things here, and you know, small things. But the big things are where I go first. Big giant areas, because I want to create the overall setting. So that's where I'm going with that. All right. So we'll do some more Q&A as we do these. Okay, I'll do Marie first. She's got hers in here. Let me screen share. Whoops, where's my screen share? All right, Marie. I don't think she's here. Okay, I'll just go
Actually,
into it. Oh.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah, I'm on Highway 5.
Oh, you are? I hope you're not driving.
No. So I painted this on Monday, and
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, see, now that's something else you guys can do. You know, you can paint it and then just turn it in. I guess you turned it in after
Well, I did it today.
like
I mean,
11
I
o'clock
turned
or
it in
something like that, huh?
just- Yeah, right.
All right, cool painting. Nice. I love this.
Thank you.
Love this shadow right here. It really feels like it's scooping out, and I think it's because that, you know, that tapered edge, that rounded edge, and nice soft edge. Yeah. Okay. Background is, you know, look at the background. It's just all it needs to be. Maybe I should. Now you're making me feel like I should have softened my edges more back here. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. I definitely entertain that idea on my painting too. But since we're talking about your painting and not my painting, now I think it might be a good idea to, let me find my, that's a little bright. But a couple of these small ones, you bring them right over. I would do that. It kind of, you know what I would do on mine too. I didn't even think about doing this, but if you happen to do this, you might want to cast a little bit of a shadow from the rope right over. Let me do this a little bigger. Right over it.
Yeah. Well, it looked like the lines were holding the tarp up, and that's why I didn't put any lines in there.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, the only reason I put them in is because it kind of it sort of disguises the name a little bit. It makes the name of the boat feel like it's more in instead of standing out so much.
Yeah.
I probably could have softened some of those edges as well.
Yeah.
And then, so.
The shadows.
Shadows, you can do anything with shadows in this thing.
Yeah.
So that's fun. And neat colors. Love all the rust. Yeah, you got all that. Wow, you got everything I was talking about here. I like how you gave some of your boards dimension too. You got a light side to them and a shadow side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like I actually left mine out to do that and I never got to it. So I'll do that. I'm actually using your piece to critique my own work.
Well, that's a compliment.
Yeah. Because I like your ropes. Love these ropes. Great ropes. And did you have a lot of fun putting in all those little?
Yeah.
I know they're
I
fun,
wanted
huh?
to look a little gritty, boatyard gritty, and I thought the more lines and
Yep.
boards, probably the better.
Yep.
Because it seems like on some paintings you want to edit those little details out, but to make it,
Right. We're doing just the
like that.
opposite.
Yeah.
We want to show it off.
And I was trying to, my goal was to use darks that were more colorful than,
Yeah.
that Monterey pine that we did, and I did all black kind of. So
Yeah.
I used a lot of phthalo green and alizarin crimson, I think is what I kind of came up with.
So you went for the phthalo green. Oh, nice. Okay.
Okay.
That works. Yeah, I really like the way you did the lines in the sky. Let's see. Besides that, I mean, your drawing's really nice. And see the way you handled the over here,
Yeah.
the name.
Yeah.
It's a little more messed up. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something I think I'll go back in and mess my name up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Good old Mary.
Well, it seems like your eye does go to anything written, and so
Yeah.
to make it minimize it, it might be better.
Yeah, I think rustic up some edges on that. Scuff it up a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do too. Okay. Any other questions?
Okay. No, that's just,
Great.
thank you.
All right. Thank you. Great work.
Thanks.
All right. And all right, Charlotte. Hey, cool.
Yeah, just a second. I'm not muted yet.
Okay. There we go. Charlotte, are you on there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I like how you went vertical with that composition. I definitely was thinking about doing that myself.
I did a contour drawing first, and it's a watercolor rather than a rendering.
Yeah.
It looks like, and my picture was cutting off that other boat.
See, now this looks like it would sell. Did you say you live near La Jolla?
No, I live near Oceanside.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, looks like something like you'd see in La Jolla or something. Like in some of those cool galleries.
And I went, I put dark in. I'm on hot press paper, and it kept fading back. The dark.
Yeah.
I don't know. The boat's a little too skinny. I'll have to call you back.
Maybe a little wider on the left side. Of course, that would crowd out your other guy, but
I know. It just kind of made its own way.
yeah. Yeah, I like these colors, and I love your really loose style. Look how loose she is. So
Yeah,
you can be that loose, you guys. She's still got good sense of light and shadow on it. I like how things get a little out of control, but you have enough values and strong drawing in there to where it's fine to let that drawing just.
Yeah, the boat should have been wider, but like I said, I contoured through it, and I didn't want to edge out the little tiny boat that looks like a spaceship. I don't know. It just made it. It was fun to do. I love to paint, so.
The little boat that could. You know what I might do? If I were going to do anything to this, let's see.
I don't know. I can't edge out the little boat.
I might. Let's see. What do you think of stronger shadows?
Well, I thought of that, but I don't want it to distract from the other boat.
Yeah,
Even yours, I don't know which boat to look at, the little one or the big one.
that's true.
So I wanted the little one. I maybe widen the right side off the page.
Uh-huh.
I don't
Put
know.
off more shadow on the ground.
Oh, that might do it, maybe. No, I don't know.
Maybe some blue. Let's see.
Widen the right side. Take the right side off the page and see what happens. Can you do that?
Take the right side of what?
The right side of the boat off the page.
Just right over here?
No, up at
Oh.
the upper part of the boat. That part.
You want it to even get wider?
I don't know, it might make the boat not look so skinny.
Oh, you mean, so then you'd have more of a front view, like you're looking straight at it from the front,
Yeah,
like equal on both sides. Oh, let's see.
because the boat got skinnier and skinnier for some reason. But that's the
Well, one thing I was noticing when I did mine is that there's very little on this side and a whole lot on this side. So you're really looking at it like a 3/4 view. I
Yeah,
actually don't mind that though. I mean, when I was looking at this in the beginning, it didn't bother me. That was not anything that came to my head.
okay, well, that's good. That's
So-
good. But it was fun. I love the colors, the rust and that burnt sienna. Quackerdome burnt sienna is just wonderful with the for that rust.
Is it quadacridone burnt sienna? Is that what you have?
Yeah, Q burnt sienna mixed with.
Ooh, I've never heard of that. I've seen quadacridone a couple other colors, but I don't have that one. Maybe now is the time to get all crazy with those colors. I like those really.
It's actually orange. I think it's called orange burnt sienna, Q burnt sienna orange or something.
Wow.
It's a great color.
Yeah, it is. That really looks rusty.
Anyway, well, thanks a
Yeah.
lot.
Okay, thank you. Nice work.
Great demo.
Thank you. Claire.
Hi.
Hello. All right. We got our boats here. You got the birdie up there. Yes. All right. You got to put that birdie in there.
I like
Okay.
it.
What do you think of some shadow on the ground, maybe more?
Yeah, I did. Since, I
Oh, you
pay
did?
along when you do other critiques, and so I put a whole bunch of dark on the ground since this
Oh,
picture.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, something down on the ground.
Yeah.
You could just, if you have some shadow, like in here, let's say, for instance, or let's just say we have some shadow right here. Then out of that shadow, you could have things coming out. I love this too. Things coming out of the shadow that, like, just stuff.
Yeah.
Like boxes and crates and boards, maybe even a rope coming down or something, maybe another just a jack stand or
Yeah. Yeah, it does need something off to the right side. It's the mountains kind of cut it off.
yeah, just stuff overlapping. Little props. I just think of them as little props, and I don't put any information into them.
Okay.
In fact, sometimes I just do it like this. There might be a better way to do it like this. Just kind of, like little, as if they're just part of the shadow.
Okay.
Stuff like that. Whatever. But anyway, let's see what I've got here now.
I did mine on hot press as well.
Hot press, huh?
Yeah.
How'd you like it?
It's different. It's very different. Much easier to get color up.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because it doesn't dry as fast. It'll sit up on the surface a little bit longer.
Yeah, very different feel. So, yeah, good to learn something new.
Okay, then I could see possibly, like right in here, maybe the shadow could be a little stronger,
Okay.
and then maybe the dark windows could be a little darker,
Yeah.
giving you that shadowy feel.
Yeah.
I could see these two maybe a little bit darker, not this dark. This one
Okay.
actually feels pretty good, but I could certainly make the argument of that being just a little bit darker over on this side, so you really get that feeling of this being in light and being in shadow.
Right.
I could even see on me too, I was looking at mine, I could be a little darker too. So,
Yeah, I can see it.
but that's not what my psychologist says. I don't want to be a little darker. No. And we talked about the white ropes.
Oh, yeah, I didn't want to put that thing on the front. I just didn't like the shape
Okay.
of
You got a problem with my shapes? No, I'm just joking.
No, the tarp shape.
I'm just
I didn't even like it on
I know. I'm looking at that too. It's not the most beautiful thing to put on the front, maybe.
the or the back. You know, it's just kind of an ugly shape.
Well, maybe you could make that into something. Maybe now. I think what would complete this too is if you really hit some darks into that.
Okay.
It's a little. Let's see. You know, up and in it. I used kind of a dry brushy edge too when I did it, so it really,
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. Some of those darks in there. A couple darks in there. We talked about maybe more darks in here. How deep with the shadowing possibly. And
I was struggling with how to make the dark dark. I mean, when I was mixing up the ultramarine blue and the magenta, I couldn't get it dark enough. So I added black into it.
oh, try Prussian blue.
Prussian blue and magenta.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Prussian blue and cad red also make a really good dark.
Okay.
So, because it's a green blue, so it'll dry, so it mixes with the red, and I don't know why it gets a little bit.
Do the
Darker.
colors look different on hot press versus cold press? I mean, do they present differently?
Yes, they do present differently. Yes. Remember, you're getting a puddly effect. The water sits up on the surface a little. The water and pigments sit up on the surface a little longer, and they don't absorb as much, so that the paper isn't drinking as much in.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, it just seems so much lighter than what I'm used to.
You might get a little puddlier too.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And Jean. All right. Now, are you working on a hot press paper too? It kind of doesn't look like it, but you're getting all these puddle effects. Interesting.
No, it's just arches
Yeah.
40.
So now what you're doing is you're probably putting like drips of water in there, and there. See, this is the puddle effect you get
Yeah.
usually with hot press. But so you're just really puddling up the water on there.
I'm with Louise. I'm just terrified by this. I've never been. This is a hard.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I didn't mean to terrify you guys.
No, it's all right. It's okay. Not terrified. I mean, I love the way it thrusts out of that picture. It's very exciting. I'm not very happy with this, but that's all
Well,
right.
I'm happy with your method of painting. Like, I love what you're doing with all this board work up in here. It's
Oh.
such a great platform too to play with texture. I think it's the way I like this photo. But
Yeah.
you're really messing around with the texture really in a fun way there.
Okay.
Okay. So I can see now if you come back with a strong shadow right over here to give that, so you have the light side over here and the shadow side over here.
Yeah.
Maybe pull that over here a little bit further, yeah, something like that. And kind of a maybe blue gray. I did mine a little bit in the violet area. So, and I like the way you handled the words on there. They don't have to be descriptive. Maybe that's a better way to do it.
Well, I certainly can't think things like that.
Oh, that's funny. That's why I say sometimes you can write it in with your. If you need to do some writing in a piece, write it in with your pencil first, and then go over it. And
I've changed it already since I sent it to you, because I noticed that on the left side of the big boat, the tarp goes all the way down, and I just stopped it. So
down here.
that black tarp goes over the edge of the boat.
Yeah.
Just makes sense what it's doing there.
That's not a big deal, but I think that
No, I've already done it.
kind of wrap it around there, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then hit a couple of little values in it. Okay, I love those blue mountains. You really went blue with those mountains. So they do recede.
That's good. Yeah.
So, you know, and I was thinking about doing this with mine too, is maybe coming back and softening the edge a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Sure.
because maybe make it feel a little further away that way. Let's see. Or, you know, you could always, I was thinking about putting some white back there in mine too. That's what that artist Zorn would do. I think Anders Zorn, that artist, he
Yes.
did a lot of these kind of paintings too. I should have used him for an example too. I didn't think about that. But he definitely would use white back there. And it looks so good in these overcast kind of scenes. So, by the way, so you see what that did to your shadow, by the way? By making this lighter, it makes your shadow look more shadowish.
Yes, exactly.
So, it's an easy move, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see. Yep, and I like your little stuff. You just put a little stuff down there on the ground, coming out of the shadow into the light. That's fun. Okay, and your little birdie. You get your birdie.
Well, thank
Looks
you.
more like a pelican, which it certainly could be.
Yeah, it is. I'm glad you recognized it.
Yeah, Okay.
All right.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Nice work. Okay, we got Ethel. Well, you got this guy really high up there off the
Yeah, I
on the
did.
left side.
Oh, well.
They often are, though. They're often way up there. Because those workers want to get underneath them and patch stuff up. Of course, I think you know a little bit about docks, don't you?
A little
Did you
bit.
grow up on the ocean? Yeah.
A little bit.
Nice drawing. Nice composition.
Oh, thank you. I took another picture with the little one on the left side cut off a little better, but that's okay.
Yeah. We can always crop into them
Yeah.
if you like. I'm going to crop into mine. You got your 3 birdies hanging out.
Yeah, well, they're a little too centered for my liking, but what?
You know what you can do to offset that is maybe put like one behind here.
Yeah, put a couple
do that.
more. Yeah. I was thinking of that. I should probably add some.
Yeah, just whoops. If you had
Oh,
that'd be
yeah.
a good idea.
Yeah.
Just because maybe one really small off over there or something.
Yeah, something. A couple of little ones.
You know what else I was thinking of? If you guys want to mess around with it, I was thinking of putting some light ones up against
Uh,
the dark, far away here and there.
that could be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely, because again, so you got the dark on the light,
Yeah.
and then we have the light on the dark. That little trick can really be a interesting little magical thing.
Yeah, that could be fun.
It's like salt and pepper. Okay. I think I wouldn't mind you hitting a little more saturation in a couple of areas, and so I'd like to see some serious rust here and there,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
in your
it kind
blue.
of, yeah, it kind of looks a little boring the way it is.
Yeah, just pop a little bit in there too. Maybe a little bit of, saturation in your blues here and there.
Uh-huh.
Makes them feel a little bit more like sunlight.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's got this painting's basically done. I'm just talking about little accents. I had a little yellow in the light, makes it feel a little more lit
Yeah.
on the light side.
Yeah,
Sometimes
I don't think I used any yellow at all. I used a little orange.
Yeah. Sometimes what I'll do is add a little bit of blue accents to the shadow, to make things feel a little bit more shadowish.
Yeah.
And it's small stuff, but it really can accent a painting.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Little here and there, just little touches here and there.
Yeah.
Even on the ground, I could see some real,
A little more.
yeah, just a little,
Yeah.
little bit more here and there,
Okay.
just to smack some color into it.
Yeah, that might make it a little more interesting. Yes, I like that.
Just touches. But your drafting is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
And you know, that's the thing that makes a painting work almost always.
Third time was a charm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just touches here and there.
Okay. All right.
All right. Alrighty?
All right. Thank you so much. That
Thank
was
you,
great.
Ethel.
All right.
Nice work. And we're down here at Katie. All right.
Hey, this was hard.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was drawing the boat hard?
Yeah.
What you mean?
I've never drawn a boat,
Oh.
so it was kind of hard. But it was okay.
Well, at least it's more of a front view than there's some views of boats that'll really drive you nuts.
Yeah, I bet.
But they're, well, anyway. And it looks like we had a little problem with scale. This one over here on the left is a little
Yes.
large.
My
And that's-
perspective was definitely having a problem.
Did you put them in boxes first?
No. No.
'Cause
But I thought I was going to cut my painting off on the left side about 1.5 inches
Yeah.
to the right. But then I didn't.
Well, it's totally okay, because who's to say whether this boat on the left, on the right isn't smaller? I mean, it's your thing. All that matters in the end is did the painting work? Did you like what you did? And so I think I talked about a little bit about let's see. Oops. A little bit about just some little goodies on the bottom here, you know, just to break up this straight line. Just little dark things.
Rob, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, I'm putting in little dark things here.
There's some background noise.
Okay,
Okay.
are we better now? Can you hear me now? We got this, a couple of these.
No, there's background noise that happens every time you start talking.
I haven't done anything different. I don't know why there'd be background noise in mine.
Maybe it could be your connection, because it looked like you froze even.
Yeah, I see you're breaking up.
Could be. Could you, maybe, Rob, could you go to somebody else and come back? And I'll sign out and sign back in.
Okay. I'll do that.
Now
Okay.
I can't hear you at all.
Go. Here, I'll write a message for you.
I'll sign out.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I'll go to Francis. Are you there, Francis?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right. Whoops. Whoa. There we go. Okay. I like your colors. And I like your drawing. Your scale's pretty darn nice. I mean,
I thought it was hard.
I was gonna say, that's pretty darn good. What do you think? I'd be pretty proud of that.
Well, it doesn't have the colors bother me. It's not bright and
Okay, that's fine. That we can definitely mess with that. One thing that I'm thinking of right off the bat, though, if you squint your eyes and look at it, I think that everything over here needs to be in a darker shadow,
okay.
and even this. a darker shadow, and this too.
Okay.
To really make it feel like it has a side to it. And then with the color, what you can do is come back with some strong glazes of orange and, you know, the rusty reddy colors. And then maybe some sort of aqua color in here, maybe it's got the bluish green. I don't have a blue green on with mine, but so I'll go over with a blue and a green here, you know, in that family, and strengthen up the color. Straighten up the. Don't change the value too much. Really try to hit some saturation in the color.
Okay.
And that'll spice it up. Maybe even a little yellow on this side. I mean, I'm going way too yellow, but maybe just a little hint of yellow on the light side.
Okay.
Just to make it feel more like sunlight. Because so if your colors go a little bland on you, then that means they need a little excitement, which is usually what you get out of saturation. And I can even see this shadow side being darker over here. Really, it's quite dark. Down here too, quite dark. And I would use a colorful dark. I don't have anything really colorful.
Okay. I'll find it.
I could throw something like that in there.
I wasn't happy. I did the ropes that you ultimately did in white. I did those in pencil first, and then when you talked about the white, I tried it. I'm not sure I like it, but I just the white bothered me so.
Yeah, you gotta play with the white for a while.
Okay.
You really get used to messing around with it. If you'll notice, when I did it, I had to redo it a couple of times too, because you got to get it thick. You got to get it really thick and dry on there.
Okay. Maybe that's what I did wrong. Okay.
If you put it on too thin and watery, it just not only will it not. It might give you too thick of a stroke, but also it'll dry lighter. I mean, it'll dry darker. It won't be as. But you know, your little tarp on the front looks great. That is a great looking tarp.
Thank you.
Okay, so stronger values. I can see a stronger value under here too. A little stronger dark under there. Go for those darks. Go for the darks and the shadows. I remember I had a strong shadow here too. Quite strong.
Darker. Okay.
So it's mostly value and a little saturation in your color in the light side. And I think this thing's gonna. I mean, it's really. I'd love to work on this.
Yeah, I need to work on it.
Because you've done like so much of the work.
Yeah. Okay.
When I used to paint murals, I would have I would love it when artists would do where I didn't have to do all the work for them, you know, where they do most of the work, then all I'd have to do is come back and say just it was great.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Maybe a really good dark, maybe a really nice dark back in here too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Are we? Is Katie? Are you back? No.
Hi.
Oh.
Hi.
Hi. Are you back?
Back.
Let's see.
Thanks
here.
for waiting.
Oh, that's okay. You can hear me now, right? Uh-oh. You can hear me now, okay, Katie? Hello, Katie. Are you muting me?
You know what? It's not working.
Oh,
Something's wrong with my connection.
okay.
No,
Well, let me
I'm
just. I'll just finish
here,
the.
but something's wrong with my connection, I think.
Hey, maybe reboot everything.
Well, I can just finish it here, okay? I'm gonna I'll finish it online. I'll finish it right now, and then you can look at it on the Zoom. Okay. So anyway, don't worry about it. I'm going to do it right now. Nice darks on your shadow. You got really good values. The values in this thing are really popping. I wish the browns over here and some of these blues could be a little lighter, so it feel more like it's on the light side. Because you have really good values on the shadow side. So, with these, I think all you need to do is maybe just lighten them up a little bit. Just wet them and blot them, so they feel like they're lighter over on this side. And I think you're good. And again, to break up this strong horizontal down there on the bottom, maybe put a couple of little crates and barrels and things like, stuff. And I think we're okay. Let me see what else. You definitely got your darks on this one. You are not afraid of the dark. Okay. I think that's it. Thank you. All right. All right, Louisa. Get it small again. Let's see if I can get this a little bit bigger. Whoops. Okay. I think it's as big as I can get it.
Okay. Maybe when I email you, I should.
There it goes. Whoa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe email a little bit bigger.
Okay.
That's pretty big. Okay. All right. Now you went really far away with your boats, and I think that yours looks more desolate, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it needs more stuff on the ground, though. And by the way, I love your ground.
Yeah,
I'm jealous. I wish I would have done my ground that like that. That looks really nice. Blue, look at it. You got the red, the blue, and the yellow on the ground. I could see possibly this value right here on the shadow could be a little darker.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking possibly, maybe a little here too, especially right under it. So a couple little things, just breaking up that, and what else? Any questions?
Well, looking at it, I realize there's something wrong about these mountains because the dark mountain is behind the pale mountain on the left, and that's what.
Well, yeah,
right?
that can happen in unusual cloud conditions. You'll have a cloud casting a shadow over this, and this could be catching the light. So I have seen that happen. It didn't really bother me.
Okay.
If you want them to feel further away, though, what you can do is soften this edge right here. Maybe with a little bit of white, or maybe, that's the other thing. If you want to, you could also lighten this up back here with a little white, but I don't think it matters.
See, I thought the big boat would be the focus, and
Yeah.
by putting a dark as a background to the boat, I would, make the boat come forward. That
Yeah.
was the thought.
Yeah.
Otherwise, don't you like my 3 little birds?
Oh yeah, I do. I do like those birds. Yes. They're nicely spaced, very, very natural and asymmetrical.
Yeah.
You notice how I shadowed the shadow side of your boats a little bit? Both boats?
That makes a big difference, yes.
I put a little shadow on that side, so I'm thinking maybe that could help.
And yes, you're right, some more activity on the ground.
Yeah, just stuff, little active, little
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Okay, this was really enlightening. It's the first time ever I do a boat. And by the way, some
Oh.
give up smoking or quit smoking. I quit the ruler, Rob. I quit
Yeah, it's
the
no
ruler.
good for you. That darn ruler.
And also in the past, I've done the drawing ahead of time
Yeah.
of the class, and because I want to be looser and more natural, I decided not to do that. So everything was done, really quickly this morning. So
Well, this is not a bad drawing of a boat. This other one's perfect, actually. This one's not bad.
yeah,
I mean, not
right.
bad at all.
Yeah, the bottom has to be a little fatter on the left. Yeah.
Little, I could see maybe more off over to this side,
Right.
possibly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Interestingly, the one on the left, I paid little attention to it.
How about that?
And now I like it a lot. It looks so more watercolorish and less neat, and I like that.
Well, if you'll notice, you're also looking straight at the one at the left, and you're looking at a 3/4 view of the one on the right.
Yeah.
And so the 3/4 view is almost always going to give you the harder time.
Mhm.
So,
Okay. Well, thank you.
okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Let me back on that. Let me clear my drawings. Betsy. Come on. There it is. Pull that up in value a little. All right, Betsy, you did that in your sketchbook.
Yeah.
Cool. Whoops. Little. I don't have any distance between these two, huh? There we go. That's a great looking thing to have in a sketchbook. Now I want to look through your sketchbook. Yeah, you made the mountains in the background a little foggier. I think that looks great. Gives a little more importance to the boats. I think I love your stuff on the ground. That's a perfect way to do stuff on the ground. So it just looks like, indescript stuff on the ground. It doesn't have to be anything important. Maybe, nets and ropes and stuff. Really great. This is one of those situations right here where I think maybe the value could be a little darker, but then you got this beautiful little water spot right there I wouldn't want to mess up, so I don't know.
I know, that's why I left it.
Yeah. I get it. Sometimes you and it's nice. It's not wrong. I mean, it still works as light and shadow. Believe it.
I added a little bit of yellow on the left side of both boats to kind of brighten it a little.
Yeah, I like your rust work there. Nice rust work. Yeah. Really get a nice dark shadow underneath too. I think it really ground it.
Okay.
Down here, just below these things. Yeah, a little yellow on the light side was a good move. And it looks good in a sketchbook. Oh man, what a great thing to do is go around to a dock and just sketch boats all day. Especially not the pretty boats, the really crab boats that have been out, they're all rusty. I don't know, this is a nice piece. I wouldn't really want to do anything. What do you think? Do you have any questions?
Well, your shadows certainly help. Yeah, I was thinking, in my book, it's a little darker than what I see on my screen. So
Okay, that's good.
there's more contrast. So I've added some yellow, and I'll go back in and put some shadows, which I think will help pop it a little.
Yeah. And I like how you took the picture of it all on hardwood floor, which reminds me of decking.
I hadn't thought about that, but yeah.
Should have put a little rope and a little net off to the side there.
A lobster.
No, never mind. I was getting into the spirit. Don't get me started. What do you think about a little rope? going out from the side. That's too big.
Yep. That would help balance, because it looks to me as it's tipping a little that way.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I was thinking. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it that thick or anything. Just thin.
Mhm.
And I can get it thinner with this other one. Things like that. Anyway, I like this piece and I love doing it in this sketchbook. That looks great. Wow. How do you like it? What kind of sketchbook is this? Is this a moleskin?
Yeah, it's not a moleskin, it's a penitalic.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you've heard that here.
Is it really watercolor paper? I see it. Yeah.
Watercolor paper. Yeah, I've done all of our assignments in here, so it's.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. Yeah, that looks great.
I have all my, so it's a really good reference.
Yeah, what a great way to do it.
Yeah, and I, throw other things in that I've been doing, so yeah.
Yeah, I like the figures. Yeah, there's good old Sergeant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's watercolor. It's not as rough as I would hope it would be, but it works.
Is it pure cotton paper?
I don't know. I'm looking to see if it says anything.
Okay.
I ordered some old, so I hope it's good. Doesn't really say anything. It's just
Yeah.
like Pentalic, Pentalic.
I've never heard of it. I'll write it down because I've never. Let's see. I think if it doesn't, one thing I know about watercolor paper, if it doesn't say 100% cotton, then it isn't. But a lot of them don't say anything on them.
No.
Yeah, a lot of them don't say anything on them.
I did order some Strathmore, so I'll see if it's different than this, because I couldn't find this guy again, except in a bigger size, so I got that. But I like the little guys, and I found a Strathmore one.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Nice work. Love the way that looks. Great page, great layout. Okay, let's go back in here. And I haven't jumped over anyone, have I? Okay. Oops. Oh, past Suzanne. Come back. There you go. All right. Clear my drawings. Love your sky. Love the little pink in your sky. Great. You there, Suzanne?
Yes, I am.
All right. And now, I think some of your light side could be a little more saturated. We talked about yellow, just little hints of yellow in the light.
Okay.
Little hints of blue. I think you're just a little bit of blue in your shadow, and then you see how we have a 1, 2, 3, these all in a row.
Yeah.
I might just break it up and have a diagonal in there.
Okay.
We'll look at it like an artist. Because I'm sure some bold person is like, no, you never want to do that. But, no, something in there just to break up the repetition. That's all.
Okay.
And, the way you handle the water with the dry brushing, I wish I had done that. That looks really good. Really, really waterish. You got to be proud of that. I mean, that was probably easy as could be, but it's very effective. That you might want to take note of that. That really works.
Okay.
And you kind of did it in the deck here too. Now, what I might do with the deck is the white parts, just glaze them down a little bit so they don't compete with this back here.
Okay, yeah.
And all I would do is just take a little bit of, probably orange or something, and just, and so it feels more like it's, because right now they look like the white sparkles of the water.
Right.
And, we just want them to feel like decking. So
yeah. Okay.
It's a very easy, very, very 30-second thing to do,
Right. Okay.
And I might have more, since we have more shadow on our right side here. a little more shadow off to the right side over there. Now, if you really like your decking color over there and you don't want to do that and you left that because of that, then leave it. But what I would do is probably throw a little bit of something down there on the ground here too.
Okay, yeah.
Because this is supposed to be a shadow cast by this approximately, so something like that. All right, now I think this looks great. I might soften up this edge. So is that somebody else?
No, that's my phone, sorry.
Oh, I heard somebody else talking. So.
I did put purple back there while you were talking to other people, so.
But you see how we have a hard line?
Yeah.
So then I might just use a little bit of white and a little bit of something to soften that edge.
Okay.
Just. You might even want to dry brush it. It'll really go with your water.
Okay.
I think it looks great. Any other questions? I think it looks great.
No, my rope, I tried to keep the paper white, but then I kind of would lose it. So.
I know, that's one of those things where I probably wouldn't do it. Although, your white rope back here, I don't know if you can see that here. The white rope you did back here, that looks awesome. That looks like you used the white of the paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really well done. Wow. So that looks good.
Okay.
If it gets a little weird, that's when I would just take it out and go over it with white.
Okay. Yeah, it kind of wasn't sure what to do with that. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. And Barbara.
Could you go to my Barbara 2?
Barbara 2, let's see. Barbara 2, there you are.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Now, now that we're on this white rope thing, did you put those in with white?
I did.
Cool.
And then right now I took a gouache on a credit card and I put it along the water, in the water. I did sort of a dry brush thing. Well, I did it with a side of a credit card.
The side of a credit card. No, you can't do that in my class. No credit cards allowed. Just joking. That's pretty cool. That gives you some nice looking texture, huh?
It did. I like the way it came. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I think Hector does the credit card trick sometimes. Yeah, I use credit cards for all kinds of things. Sometimes I use them to break into my house when I lose my keys. When I left my keys inside.
Oh, really? You have to teach us that trick.
It's not easy, but okay. Okay, so I could see some stronger shadows off to your right side here.
On the ground or on the boat? On the ground or on the boat? Oh, yeah. Yes.
On there, the boat. This part of the boat looks fine to me. I think I would put them on the ground here.
Okay.
And here too.
Mm-hmm.
Down there. And I think this one down here could be a little, especially down here where it's really blue.
Right. Yeah.
Really.
Okay. Also, I put more props down on the bottom of the boat while you were talking. I forgot to do part of that. I had it outlined, but I just painted it in.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, a couple of people did that even better than me, so that's what's so great about doing the about the demo is that you can just see how everybody handles it, and I want to do it that way, you know. So nice looking tinfoil. If you wanted any more saturation in your blues and oranges up here, I might just pop a couple of really hard ones in there. Really, like pure saturated, the too dark. Yeah. Nice. Some nice blue in there. You don't want to hit it everywhere though, because you want to look thrashed. But a couple of little pieces of saturation And here and there
Mm-hmm.
can be nice. There are little areas to pop in color. Sometimes I'll hit some on the ground too.
Okay.
And then that's about all I could think of. We were also talking about casting little shadows over things. Let me put it with this thing here. Like little shadows, like a rope shadow there.
Oh, okay.
I
Mm-hmm.
can see some more shadow over the front of this too.
Oh, right. Yeah. That looks kind of unfinished. Mm-hmm.
It looks a little bright to be in shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And so to get this side to really feel like it's in light over here, we really need to get something darker over there. So you really turn that corner.
Okay. I think I just have to do it darker. I had some shadow, but it's too light to show up,
Yeah.
I think. Mm-hmm.
Even on the tarp here on the front, I would put because it'll have a side to it. It'll have the left side will be in in light, the other side will be in shadow. Even though it's really shimmery, I would still put a little bit of
Okay.
light and shadow to that,
Okay.
so we can really feel the sides. Alrighty.
Great.
Like your birds, they're a little dark though. What do you think?
Little bit. How could I lighten it up?
A little bit of white.
Oh,
Just
okay.
put a little bit of white on them, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And we got Robin. Yeah, Robin. Okay, Robin. Gosh, I can really see your style, Robin. In all your work, I'm getting a sense. I've seen enough of your work, right? I'm really getting the sense of your.
What is
I can feel when I'm looking at your painting.
yay? What help me with that? What are you seeing?
You do a lot of really graphic things, really flat things, really like big. You make a lot of use out of the big flat area. Instead of seeing lights and shadows over all this mountain or whatever, you make a lot of use out of seeing this big flat areas, like a graphic designer, which is what all painters are. I mean, all painters are graphic designers. But some people really model things and they really get into the light and the shade. And the thing about if you leave things flatter like you do, you can get more color out of it because you're not bleaching out the lights and then darkening up the shadows. So,
Interesting.
yeah. That's one thing I notice about, you'll hear me say this time and time again, big flat areas. I'm really into big flat areas, and that's because I can get more color moving around in those areas that way. So, this is nice work. Let's see. I mean, it's drawn really well. It's painted really nicely. I could see touches of saturation. I don't have anything major to say about this except little bits of saturation in here, and little bits of like saturation in this blue here, maybe possibly a little more saturated here and there. Don't be afraid to really smack those, because we have a fairly gray painting, and I don't mind a gray painting. I just want to see touches. I'm looking for possibly a couple of touches of saturated areas. A little yellow in the lights. Now here, if this is where your corner starts, then I think this would be in shadow more. We'll just maybe touch a little bit more shadow over this. At least that's the way I'm seeing it.
Yep. You were right.
Just a little over that. And then, what do you think of more ropes? Whew.
Yeah, I think more ropes would be good.
And stuff on the ground. Stuff. whatever. As a graphic shape, you know, I'm just saying, just to kind of break this horizontal up, maybe a couple of things here on the ground. Things and things.
More jacks. We need
Yeah.
more jacks.
Jacks, you can put as many jacks in there as you want.
Okay.
Put a Jill in there too. Oh,
Right.
sorry about that. And then this line right here is really hard, and this one's really soft. Were you doing that to try to make this one feel farther away?
I knew you were going to say something about that. No, it's kind of an accident.
Okay. I think I prefer the softer edge, so I would probably just take a stiff brush and soften that edge a little bit.
Okay.
All right. I think we're looking at a pretty much finished piece there. Nice.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
And I think also you're pushing us out of our comfort zones,
Yeah.
and it's really awesome. So thank you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, next week I'm going to do a piece where we'll be looking from the top of the Empire State Building in 3-point perspective down into the. No, I'm just joking.
You're.
Just playing with you guys. I wouldn't even do that to me. Okay, here. All right. Hey, Henry, like all that texture and color. Beautiful. Love the color you're getting in the mountain in the background right away. And I love all this texture you're getting into the ship up here. See, that's what you want. See all this dry brushing the rope, dry brushing a lot of these cables and ropes and things coming into it. You really broke up that horizontal on the ground I've been talking about, breaking that up. You did that very nicely. This boat over here is perfect. All rickety and boatish. And I possibly could see a little more shadow to this side of this thing right here, this tarp. Maybe a little more shadow onto this. And then, if anything, maybe a touch of saturation here and there, like in the front. A little bit of saturated areas here, maybe a little bit of blue, a little more saturation. Like with this right here, this little piece of saturation you did there, a couple more of those I think would be good. Like that turquoise you love so much. I think we're looking at a finished piece. What do you think about maybe putting a couple of rope deals down this way, possibly? You there, Henry? No? I'm just talking to myself. No big deal. And then I can see this line we've talked about in other people's. Maybe we'll soften that a little bit. You could do it with a stiff brush. You could do it with a little bit of white. A little bit of white in there too can just kind of lose that edge a little bit. I like this too. This is a good idea, just leaving that shack back there. Maybe that would be the better idea. Okay, but I love all the dry brushing. This is a really, he's giving you a clinic on dry brushing right here. Look at that. Just magnificent use of dry brushing. Okay, thank you, Henry. And Diane. Okay. See, now your mountains really look far away, especially the one way off in the distance. I think this one would look farther away if we were to maybe use a little white or just soften that edge right here.
Okay.
And yeah, this little shack here is great. stuff on the ground. What do you think about a stronger shadow on the ground, possibly? Especially right here.
Okay, sure.
Right in there, but possibly. Right down here on the ground.
Okay.
I'm not against putting something a little bit darker on this side over there. That's
Okay, yeah.
that's too dark, but
But it's more, it is in shadow, or it is turning.
maybe that would help. I don't know.
Okay.
They're both too dark. I would just value right here.
Mhm.
This is a good value,
Okay,
just so we can turn that corner a little bit.
okay.
Okay, my iPad is done, so I have to stop. Thanks for watching, guys.